Am I the antagonist for embarrassing my brother because of how disgusting he is? I, a 16-year-old female, and my 15-year-old brother moved into a new house 5 years ago. We used to share a bedroom, but we decided to move because we needed our own space as we grew older. It wasn't too difficult to share a room at that time since we weren't making much mess. However, as we got older in the new house, my brother became messier. It started with his clothes piling up and his belongings scattered everywhere, but it wasn't particularly dirty. When he turned 13, things took a turn for the worse. He started leaving dirty clothes in the bathroom, unwashed dishes in his room, and not emptying his trash. Despite these habits, his personal hygiene was still okay. He showered every day and used deodorant. Now that he's 15, his room and the shared bathroom have become extremely disgusting. He wears the same clothes for 4 days before finally putting on a new pair, but fails to put the dirty ones in the laundry. Then, after another 4 days have passed, he puts on the same clothes he wore 4 days ago. This makes him smell really bad. I decided to confront him about this. While his room is none of my business, the state of the bathroom affects both of us since we have to share it. I have repeatedly told him, as have our parents, that he needs to clean up after himself, especially in the bathroom. However, he never complies, and no punishment has been given for his gross behavior. Examples of his behavior include leaving his long hair in the sink, shaving his pubic hair in the sink, which clogs it, not putting soiled wipes in the trash, instead leaving them on the floor next to the bin, leaving his hairy razors on the counter, not flushing the toilet, leaving urine on the seat, spitting toothpaste on the tap and not cleaning it off, and much more. In an attempt to finally address his long-standing actions, I made a Snapchat story including all of his friends. I took pictures of his mess and dirt and posted them for everyone to see. At first, no one seemed to care until things escalated, and his friends started mocking him for his untidiness. Rather than cleaning up after himself or asking me to stop and taking responsibility for his mess, he cried to our parents and begged them to make me stop. Unfortunately, our parents listened to him and punished me. They made me take down the story and grounded me. It has been a few weeks since then, and my brother still hasn't changed his disgusting behavior. I don't believe I was wrong for taking action against something that has been going on for years. However, after reading the comments and responding to them, I now understand that publicly shaming him on the internet was too harsh. I shouldn't have done that. I'm at a loss for what to do next. I have tried everything. I have cleaned up after him, threatened him with my own mess, spoken to our parents numerous times, talked to him even more times, and nothing has changed his behavior. I can't avoid using this bathroom as it's the only one available. And just to clarify, I'm not only upset with him, I'm more frustrated with our parents for not doing anything about this. So please, give me some ideas or suggestions on what else I can try. You felt that previous attempts to address the issue with your parents and brother were unsuccessful, which pushed you to publicly shame him on social media. However, you now recognize that this action was too harsh. While you may not be entirely in the wrong for wanting your brother to clean up after himself, publicly naming and shaming him was not a productive or fair way to handle the situation. It's important to remember that everyone has different approaches to cleanliness, and it might take some time for your brother to develop better habits. Instead of resorting to public embarrassment, try finding alternative solutions to address the issue. You can have a calm and honest conversation with your brother about how his messy habits are affecting you and the shared living spaces. Additionally, talk to your parents again and express your concerns, emphasizing the impact that this issue is having on your daily life. Perhaps you can suggest implementing a cleaning schedule wherein everyone in the household has designated tasks and responsibilities. This way, your brother can be held accountable for cleaning up after himself, and everyone can contribute to maintaining a cleaner living environment. Remember, patience and open communication are key in resolving conflicts within the family. Am I the antagonist for telling my fiancé that he needs to stop ridiculing my degree? I'm a 20-year-old female and my fiancé is a 24-year-old male. We will be getting married next summer and I'm really excited about it. Like any other couple, we have our issues. However, recently he has been making fun of my studies and the degree I am pursuing. I'm currently studying biomedical sciences in the Netherlands while he lives in Denmark. After the wedding, we will be closing the distance and living together. I'm in my final year of my bachelor's degree, and I believe it is a demanding program that requires a lot of time and effort. Whenever I express my concerns about this, he dismisses my degree and suggests that I should quit. This is because he wants us to have a more traditional dynamic in our marriage, with him being the breadwinner and me being a stay-at-home mom, Sam. I don't have a problem with that arrangement, but I would like to have a degree as a backup during difficult times. However, whenever I try to explain this to him, he shuts me down and insists that I should just quit and focus on being a housewife since he believes I won't use my degree after we're married. I wouldn't mind working part-time, maybe twice a week, but he strongly opposes this idea, claiming it would interfere with my responsibilities at home. He is currently attending carpentry school, which involves several months of work followed by weeks of school, all of which he gets paid for. Not only does he downplay the difficulty of my degree, but he also argues that his work is much harder. I can't deny that physically his work is more demanding, but it's important to me that he acknowledges the time and effort I put into my studies. Recently, he made a joke about my degree being a waste of time and suggested that I should be in Denmark, cooking dinner for him instead, as that would bring us both more fulfillment. Even though those were just harmless jokes, I lost my temper and told him to stop ridiculing my academic achievements and undermining their value. I explained that having a degree might be beneficial in the future. However, he responded by reiterating that I shouldn't take it personally and that he was only speaking the truth because he believes I won't use my degree after we're married, making it a waste of time and money. He even turned it around and claimed that I wasn't appreciative enough of his desire to provide for me and our future family, suggesting that if I wanted to be a successful woman, I should do it on my own. Now I'm questioning whether I made a mistake by confronting him about ridiculing my degree and if I unintentionally hurt him by seeming ungrateful. So, am I the asshole? Your fiancé is being disrespectful and dismissive of your academic achievements. It is not okay for him to belittle your degree and make jokes at its expense. Your concerns about wanting a degree to fall back on and potentially work part-time are valid and should be respected. It is important for both partners in a relationship to support and uplift each other, rather than tearing each other down. It is concerning that he is trying to force traditional gender roles on you and discouraging you from pursuing your education and career. It is important for both partners to have autonomy and the ability to make choices that align with their own aspirations and goals. Your fiancé should acknowledge and appreciate the effort and dedication you have put into your studies, rather than dismissing it. You have every right to express your feelings and stand up against this disrespectful behavior. Your fiancé's response, trying to shift the blame onto you and making you feel ungrateful, is manipulative and unfair. It is important to have open and respectful communication in a relationship, and it seems like this is something you need to address and discuss with your partner. Overall, it is important for you to prioritize your own aspirations and goals. You should not feel pressured to abandon your studies or settle for a role solely as a housewife if it is not what you truly want. It is crucial for both partners to support and uplift each other's dreams and aspirations. Am I the antagonist for throwing away neighbors' chairs? I am a 24-year-old male living in an expensive city in Texas. Over the past few years, the rent has increased significantly, surpassing most people's earnings. My girlfriend and I reside in the most affordable apartment complex in our city. We are both students in the vicinity and have part-time jobs. I work nights while she works part-time and attends school part-time. We have been living in our complex for 3 years without any issues. Our building is quite small, comprising of 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a living room, kitchen, and an outdoor patio. Unfortunately, there is no dining room or space for a kitchen table. To accommodate our belongings, we keep them in storage. Our complex has strict regulations regarding patio usage. Only outdoor furniture is allowed, and smoking is forbidden both inside and outside. This is particularly important because my girlfriend suffers from severe asthma. About a month ago, a new family consisting of 5 adults and 2 young children moved into the apartment in front of ours. Our paid parking is situated right in front of their patio and front door, so we have to pass by them to access our apartment. We have observed that the woman, possibly the children's mother, constantly smokes outside. Despite our attempts to remind her that smoking is prohibited, she disregards us with a hostile glare and feigns ignorance. Additionally, their balcony is filled with clutter, and they have excessively lined up 6 unpleasant dining chairs which obstruct our pathway, a violation of fire code. They frequently invite friends over who all smoke and drink, leaving glass bottles on the ground near our cars where they could potentially break. Furthermore, the men in their group have made inappropriate remarks towards my girlfriend while she passes by, which I overheard during a phone conversation with her. They continuously keep their door open, play loud music day and night, and the 2 unsupervised kids roam around freely. It seems that with 7 people living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment, they spend most of their time outdoors. In addition to these problems, the piles of junk continue to accumulate in our entryway and beside our cars. They have now resorted to covering the mess with tarps, essentially turning the entire outdoor area into a storage space. Despite filing multiple complaints, the apartment managers merely post notices on everyone's doors without taking any concrete actions to enforce the rules. Then on Sunday at 5 a.m., after a long night of work, I caught one of the adult men peeping into my girlfriend's window as she was working late on a paper. I confronted him, but he claimed not to speak English. Fed up with the situation, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I picked up their unsightly dining chairs and disposed of them in the dumpster. Without chairs, they would be unable to sit outside smoking and drinking. However, my girlfriend believes that my actions were confrontational and considers throwing their chairs away an aggressive move. She thinks I should have handled it differently. Do you think I was out of line? Personally, I feel that these individuals have disrupted our living experience, and it's unfair for us to constantly witness their unsanitary and disruptive behavior, especially when we work so hard to maintain a clean and peaceful environment. Am I in the wrong here? You and your girlfriend have been dealing with numerous issues caused by your new neighbors, including violating the rules of the apartment complex, smoking near your girlfriend who has asthma, leaving junk and broken glass outside, playing loud music, and even peeping into your windows. You have made multiple complaints to the apartment managers, but no action has been taken to address the problem. In frustration, you decided to remove their dining chairs to prevent them from sitting outside and smoking. While this action may be seen as confrontational, it can also be justified as a response to the ongoing disruption they have been causing. It's important to consider your girlfriend's perspective as well, as she believes you may have been too confrontational. However, given the circumstances and lack of action from the apartment managers, it is understandable that you reached a breaking point. It would still be advisable to communicate with your girlfriend and find alternative solutions to address the ongoing issues, such as escalating your complaints or seeking help from local authorities, if necessary. Am I the antagonist for voicing my concern about her continuing to smoke while pregnant? So, to preface, I am a final-year nursing student who is preparing to graduate and specializing in labor and delivery. This means that I strongly believe certain things should be avoided during pregnancy whenever possible. I am mentioning this not as her healthcare provider, but as a friend who cares about her well-being. The question is, did I overstep by telling her about the possible repercussions of her actions? My roommate and friend of 10 years, let's call her S, 21, got pregnant 2 months into our lease. She told me right after she had crashed her car on our way to New Orleans and proceeded to drink heavily throughout our entire week there. She had also led me to believe she didn't plan on carrying the pregnancy to term, so I didn't say much at the time. While in New Orleans, she even asked me to be the godmother. The next month, she decided to keep the baby. So I asked her if she was going to continue heavily smoking cigarettes and marijuana. She answered that she was, and claimed that just because she's pregnant doesn't mean she should stop, as her mom smoked while pregnant and she turned out fine. I disagreed with her, as not all pregnancies are the same, and adding risk factors to the pregnancy is unwise. I mentioned that my mom also smoked while pregnant with me, and I ended up being born premature with many health issues caused by smoking. She called me a narcissist and twisted my words saying, "Not every pregnancy is the same, it's my body, my choice." While I understand her perspective, there is no way to predict if or to what degree the child will be affected. She also claimed that if her child has medical problems, she will take care of them, as if she gets to live her child's life for them. Personally, if given the choice, I would have preferred not to have been born with health problems. She also stated that she would not stop smoking weed and didn't care if Child Protective Services got involved, which made me angry because we live together. I have had traumas from interactions with CPS in the past, and the thought of being interviewed by them brings on feelings of panic. Additionally, she believes it is perfectly acceptable to continue smoking weed while breastfeeding, as long as she waits an hour or two after smoking, even though it can take up to 6 days for marijuana to leave breast milk. It is worth noting that she hasn't met with an obstetrician yet, despite being 4 months pregnant. She claims that the obstetrician would agree it's fine to continue smoking, but finds it contradictory that she rejects my opinion by saying I'm not a doctor and dismissing scientific evidence. I feel that it would be different if I were expressing an opinion like suggesting the baby's room be painted blue because it's a boy, but I'm not. I'm simply explaining that there are significant risks to her decisions and that her child could be born prematurely, leading to long-term issues. I just feel like her reaction implies she refuses to acknowledge any perspective other than an overly optimistic one. Although I didn't say this part, it's just my thought. So am I a narcissist for voicing my concern? As a nursing student specializing in labor and delivery, you have knowledge about the potential risks involved, and your concern is justified. However, it is important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. Instead of sounding judgmental, try to have an open and non-confrontational conversation with your friend, expressing your worries for the well-being of the baby. Offer her information about the potential risks associated with smoking cigarettes and marijuana during pregnancy, and provide resources for her to educate herself. Remember that ultimately, it is her choice to make decisions about her body and her pregnancy. You can voice your concerns, but it is important to respect her autonomy. It's also worth suggesting that she consult with a healthcare professional, such as an OB/GYN, who can provide her with accurate medical advice regarding the potential impacts of her choices. In summary, expressing your concerns about the possible repercussions is not wrong, but the way you approach the conversation and respect her autonomy in making her own decisions is crucial. Would I be the antagonist if I don't take my sister, who's schizophrenic, and her baby trick or treating with me and my daughter? For reference, my mom is my sister's caregiver, but no one is legally responsible for my sister. Elle is not her real name. To start, my 22-year-old sister Elle, who is actually 27 years old, has had schizophrenia for almost 8 years. She's been mostly unmedicated, except for when she's been in jail. It's a cycle. When she's out, she'll use meth, end up in jail for various reasons, get clean and medicated while incarcerated, and then revert back to her old habits once released. Honestly, our mom is in denial about Elle's drug use, to the point where it's difficult to tell if she's under the influence or just unmedicated, which is the case now. Although I'm leaning towards no meth this time, since she's been relatively calm. I believe she has taken some medication, but it's hard to be certain with her, and Mom will always say she has. For the past few weeks, my sister has been fixated on this stuffed animal she calls B. While I'm not sure if she sees it as her baby, she certainly treats it as such. She talks for B, buys things for it, and tries to get you to hug it. It's harmless, I suppose. Definitely better than some of the other delusions she's had. Usually when she talks about her delusions, we gently remind her they're not real. Not to be mean, just things like, no, you're not a fire fairy, or stop talking to them. There are no demons here, just us. However, I leave most of this to my mom, who has more experience and takes care of her most often. I guess she's allowing Elle to keep this one since it's not causing much harm. I could delve into the dynamics further, but I'll try to keep it brief. Obviously, I'm taking my 4-year-old daughter trick-or-treating, and my mom wants me to take Elle and B along as well. She even plans to get a stroller for B, since Ella has already gotten it a costume. The idea is to have them go door to door and have B ask for candy, like a child. I expressed my discomfort with this and stated that I needed to think about it. In response, my mom resorted to her usual guilt trip, saying, well, I guess I could take her. Not sure how well I'll be able to manage, considering my bad back and my foot never fully recovering after it broke. But it's fine. Really, it's fine, you know. I don't want to be unsupportive, but this situation could easily go wrong in several ways. First, Elle is unpredictable and could have an episode. She also has a tendency to curse and say really, really inappropriate things out of nowhere. I mean really bad things, too explicit to repeat here, and there will be actual children around. Second, what happens if we encounter adults who aren't understanding? That being said, her behavior has been improving lately. Whether it's due to being off meth for now or taking medication, I genuinely can't be sure. There's much more complexity to the situation, but I believe that's the most crucial context. I asked my friend for her opinion, and she suggested giving Elle a chance since she hasn't had an episode in a while. However, I still disagree. Some family members, who are all in another state, are saying it's not a big deal and I should cut my mom some slack. This is what's making me reconsider. My mom has been much better recently, and there haven't been any outbursts for a few months now, which she attributes to medication. In summary, my older sister, who has a mental illness, wants to take her stuffed animal trick-or-treating, and our mother is guilt-tripping me about it. However, I believe there are too many potential issues, and honestly, I'm not comfortable with it. Am I in the wrong here? It's understandable that you feel uncomfortable with the idea of your sister taking her stuffed animal trick or treating, especially considering her unpredictable behavior and potential outbursts. Your concerns about how other people, particularly children, might react to her behavior are valid. It's important to prioritize the safety and well-being of those around you, including your daughter. While it's important to support your sister and encourage her improvement, it doesn't mean you have to put yourself or others in potentially difficult or uncomfortable situations. It might be worth having a conversation with your mom and explaining your concerns and reasons for not wanting to participate in this particular event. It might also be helpful to suggest finding alternative ways to celebrate or engage with your sister on Halloween that could be more manageable and enjoyable for everyone involved. Remember, it's essential to prioritize the safety and comfort of yourself and your daughter while still being supportive of your sister's well-being. Would I be the antagonist if I told my brother what his wife and kids were saying about me? I have 3 children who are 6, 7, and 9 years old. Their dad left when the oldest was 5 because our family wasn't worth the stress to him. It was a terrifying situation as we were on the brink of homelessness, but I managed to find a job. I hadn't seen my family since they cut me off for getting pregnant as a teenager, but my older brother found me and offered me a place to stay with him and his family. We are living rent-free in their basement, and it's more than enough for us. I sometimes feel a little awkward around my brother's wife and their 2 preteen daughters, but they have always been kind to me and my kids whenever we interact. Yesterday was my brother's birthday, and we were all having dinner together upstairs. My brother had to leave the house briefly to get something. During that time, my son accidentally spilled juice on himself, so I took him to get cleaned up. He became tired and worked up, so I quickly put him to bed. My daughters also came downstairs, and I stayed with them until they fell asleep. After all that, I was heading back upstairs when I overheard my sister-in-law and nieces talking about me. Did she really get pregnant at 15? Yes, and look at her situation now. She's fortunate that your dad is so kind because she was practically homeless before we took her in. You two better not get pregnant. I don't want you ending up like her. Admittedly, my situation is not ideal, and I am indeed grateful that my brother found me. Initially, I thought of ignoring what my sister-in-law said. However, she went on to tell the girls my entire life story, including some embarrassing details and portraying me as a horrible person. She told them false things like I used drugs while pregnant, which is not true, and that I likely have certain mental illnesses, which I don't. She even suggested that I probably would have abandoned or given up my kids if my brother hadn't found me. Hearing her kids agreeing with her and saying that I seemed incapable of taking care of my children was incredibly hurtful. It's painful to realize how poorly they think of me, and it makes me regret sharing my story with my brother and sister-in-law. I know that I am not a role model and probably should feel ashamed of myself, but I never expected them to have such a low opinion of me. That night, I went to bed and considered ignoring the situation. However, now I am questioning whether I should tell my brother what was said. Would it be childish and petty of me? I feel like going to my brother and complaining about his wife and kids would be inappropriate and cause unnecessary stress. Additionally, I am afraid that addressing the issue might lead to me being kicked out. I am already aware that it's a lot for me and my kids to be living with them, so I am unsure about what to do. You are not being childish or petty for wanting to address the hurtful comments made by your sister-in-law and nieces. It's understandable that you feel hurt and disrespected, especially after everything you've been through. While it's important to maintain a peaceful living situation, it's also important to address issues that are affecting your emotional well-being and self-esteem. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, and it's important for your brother to be aware of the hurtful things that were said about you. Consider having a calm and honest conversation with your brother about the situation. Let him know how the comments made you feel and express your concerns about the impact it might have on your relationship with his family. It's possible that he may not have been aware of what was said, and addressing it can help prevent any further misunderstandings or hurt feelings. Additionally, it's great to hear that you've been saving to eventually move out and provide a stable home for you and your kids. Keep focusing on your goals and don't let these hurtful comments discourage you. You are working hard to improve your situation, and that is something to be proud of. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.